The importance of research in design projects. The first impulse when starting a project, like most designers, is to put the pencil to the page. In that initial meeting with a client, you can find yourself solving a problem in your head. This would be fine if there were no real issues to manage and you only cared about the form and style. However, to do the right job, you need to buckle down and conduct thorough research. As we've already discussed, you need to understand the current brand strategy, competition, audience, goals, strengths, and weaknesses. The best way to gather this information is to sit down and talk with people. If the client is a small company or sole proprietor, you can speak with the owner. If there are more employees, you can make appointments to meet with as many as possible. You should know what the CEO thinks, and you should hear from the person who delivers the pizzas. The information is broader and more realistic with more input. Plus, you might get some free pizza. Talking to the pizza delivery person may not provide the information. You need to determine a brand strategy and course of action. But it will help you and the client understand how well the employees grasp the brand. If everyone at a company is aware of the values and goals, we are doing great. But if everyone has different ideas, the message internally and to the outside world can be almost anything. You should learn about the client's competition. The person you are interviewing may be able to name their closest competitors, but it will take more research on its parts to learn about the next level of competition. Every organization has unexpected competitors. You can do this research online, in a library, or in person. For instance, there was an admissions project for a university. One of the designers began the application process for several other colleges. This gave us great insight into the competition's communications and responses. They even once worked as a salesperson for a day at a major department store to better understand their customer service philosophy. Identifying the correct audience is critical. Targeted marketing with clear messages can only happen when you know who you are trying to reach. Otherwise, you're telling the story so broadly that nobody cares. That's called spray and spray. You can determine who the current audience is by talking with your direct contact for the client, salespeople, communications department, and marketing team. Identify a few customers to hear their point of view. Typically, the CEO will be the best source to determine who the audience should be in the future. Another useful tool is online analytics for a website or Facebook page. Values, goals, and promises are the territory of the owner or CEO. The information is at the core. There are many instances where the designer says, "My client isn't sophisticated." They should educate them, or an employee will insist the direction is wrong. But in the end, if the CEO decides the company is about sustainable practices, innovation, creativity, and risk-taking, then that's the right direction. It's his or her company. It's our job as designers to make that vision tangible. A good practice is to identify a client's strengths and weaknesses. Often they may be too close to the issue to clearly identify all the strengths and weaknesses. They may recognize that the product is good, but be unable to see that the customer base is disappearing. Or they might acknowledge something positive, such as the ability to attract the best talent because of forward-thinking and human-centered policies. The point here is not to open the dialogue for a complaint fest, and people love to complain. Steer the conversation to productive ideas rather than individuals. Something like, "XYZ won't clean his food out of the refrigerator" isn't particularly relevant. You're looking at the areas that are working and those that can be improved. It's important not to shortchange yourself in this phase. It's your time and expertise that is gathering a wealth of information that the client doesn't have. It's a hard job and it takes time and intelligence. Make sure you have a phase and budget in your contract specifically for research. This valuable information can have an enormous impact or prevent a disaster a few miles ahead. Without this step, jumping into the visual design of a branding project is like a doctor operating without asking a patient any questions.